Sorry, we need to talk about Gail Platt's exit storyline. It's really just not cutting the mustard. See, when they announced that Helen Worth was going to depart Coronation Street after 50 years, it's like, okay. I mean, first, it is... Are there some alarm bells going? Because generally, when very long-term actors leave the show after a particularly bad period of time, take Ian Beale in EastEnders when he left in 2021. There was also he was either in Doctors or Casualty and he was there for 31 years and then left. Like Toadie, I guess Toadie was kind of retiring, but it wasn't actually an intended exit. If you're at a period where your iconic characters are leaving the show, you start to question, is it really in a good place? Take Warren Fox in Hollyoaks. Was he really ready to make the jump? I don't really think he was willing to go through it and potentially have it drag his name down. And unfortunately, Coronation Street has been in a bit of a garbage place for a good couple of years now. This hurts as someone who used to view Coronation Street as my favourite soap out of the three I watched, that being EastEnders, Hollyoaks and Coronation Street, and it was a really unfortunate time because I could see my attention slipping, I could see it draining. I took a 3-month break of watching Coronation Street at the start of this year, and it sucks to see something you do love slipping out of control. But still, Gail Platt leaving after 50 years. Helen Worth debuted in 74 and has stayed up all the way with a couple of breaks in there up until now. I mean, an integral character, the matriarch of the Platt family, spawned many of the popular characters that are on our screens now. Nick Tilsley, David Platt, and Sarah. So, all of whom are a key part of the show. And their big storylines really did set the base for what Gail was going to do. That, as well as her history, or not so savoury history, with men. Brian died. Martin Platt left her for a younger woman. Richard Hillman tried to kill her and her family and murdered 2 people, I believe, roughly. Or three. Anyways. Tina McIntyre's dad, who committed suicide. Michael Rodwell, who died. Gail doesn't have the best track record with men. And it was a bit of a rough one because, suddenly she's leaving. Oh shit, alarm bells ringing. But then they announced Martin Platt's coming back. Yes! I mean, first and foremost, he's the only man that she's been in love with that hasn't died, which, you know, it's kind of the Gail Platt curse. So I was like, okay, Sean Wilson is coming back to the show. It's Martin Platt. That's a big deal. A person where their love was true. They had David together and were genuinely happy for a decent chunk of time. Even then, so the relationship took its trial and tribulations, and it's kind of echoed that Sean Wilson left Coronation Street roughly because they went, yeah, we're probably going to get you and Gail back together. And he went, I'm not really feeling that. And then he obviously left after doing the storyline with Katie Harris. So, okay, Martin Platt coming back. Probably one of the, maybe not the true love of Gail's life, but a genuine partner who did hurt her, but wasn't the worst, wasn't a killer, didn't try to murder them, didn't set her up for a suicide that was accidental. Martin Platt, all in all, didn't do that bad. And obviously she had to deal with David and growing up and his coming of rage, essentially. And it caused a lot of unsettling scenes for the Platt family. And, you know, Sean Wilson coming back, big, press release, Sean Wilson's coming back for Gail Platt's exit. Wow, 50 years of Gail Platt, isn't this great, isn't this great, isn't this great? But the problem was, is he started filming, boom. Sean Wilson will not be returning to Coronation Street as Martin Platt, as he has quickly exited after a very stern talk with the producers. And it's like, oh. Because it's like, oh, Martin Platt, yeah, he's coming back, fuck yeah. He hasn't appeared since 2017, where he kind of realised that there was something wrong with David in the aftermath of his rape. And, you know, he added a bit of class, added a bit of legacy, a bit of history to it. So it's like, yeah, he's coming back, and gone. Just as quick as they announced it, he had left. But, you know, Helen Worth still went, I'm still retiring, guys. Doesn't change it. I'm still retiring. So, okay. We now need to draft in a replacement. A replacement for, you know, a replacement for for Gail. Who is she going to be with? Who is she going to get with? Well, does anybody know someone called Jessie? You know, just asking. Just asking. Anyone know who Jessie is? Now, Jessie, I believe, I don't remember his full name. I think maybe like Chadwick. I don't remember. So it's like, yes, Jessie. He's come back. Who the fuck is Jessie? He was a clown, a children's entertainer. He was with Eileen in the 2010s. He kissed her sister and left. It's like, okay, great. Sound. Who the fuck asked for Jessie? Who the fuck asked for this? But if Helen Worth is hell-bent on this being a retirement, you can't just say, alright, didn't work out, give us a year, we'll get back in the kitchen, we'll cook up a feast fully meant for you. A feast that doesn't have a shady exit and a bunch of scenes having to be removed. She's still retiring. She's not gonna fucking stay on. This is her last year on the show. Okay, that's a shame. So they put Jessie in. And you know how the story of Cinderella going to the ball with a glass slipper? I may be fucking doing the metaphors wrong. The shoe doesn't fit. Jessie is not a serious actor. There is no history with Gail and Jessie. The story is they met in Thailand. They had a good summer fling. They were doing well, and they've kind of been on back and forth. But now suddenly you're cascading the mammoth Gail Platt. 50 long years. Jessie, I think it's called Chadwick or some shit. Something's not even a real name. It's not even a real fucking name. So it's like, okay, so what's he gonna do? He's gonna have a frosty relationship with the Platts because, you know, at the end of the day, the Platts all care for Gail. They all love her. She is their mum. She is the matriarch. I know Audrey's like the grand matriarch, but, you know, just go with it. So, okay. So they're in love. Okay. Do they show that they're in love? Not really. No. Not particularly, no. But they're in love. He's shown up. He's getting involved with the Platt family drama. He's found out that David's stolen a bunch of money from a gangster. He's made himself a part of the family. And no one really gives a shit. It's like, okay, you do seem a bit odd, but fuck it, who cares? We're obviously still waiting for the scenes where Eileen realizes that he is with Gail and he cheated on Eileen with Eileen's sister. So we're still waiting for that. But Gail has a heart attack. And if Martin Platt was here, as a trained nurse, maybe he'd fucking realise her stress was going to lead to some bad health complications. But she's in hospital. She's feeling bad. She's selling the house to pay for Bethany's fucking treatment because she had lipo in Turkey and it didn't go well. So she's now stuck with a stoma bag and a lifetime of fucking pain. It's like, okay, so she's selling the house. The Platts going to move out of the house. Fantastic. Interesting. In the hospital, Gail looks at Jesse and says, "Will you marry me?" It's like, okay. She's in a lot of pain. She's probably on some morphine. It's actually a thing. No. He agrees to marry Gail. And it's like, okay. Yeah. And, as far as it's gone beyond that, now it's just put in such a weird place where there is a Martin Platt-shaped hole in this storyline because none of it really makes any sense, and the only real attachment you have to this story is Gail. And, we love her because she's been here for so long and she's had so many good storylines. It's been a long time between drinks for Gail. She's not done anything fucking remotely interesting for years. In fact, she's been the template for literally every other character to act like Gail. Because, she's funny. Let's not give her any good storylines. Let's just have her be an old woman and Riz. Fucking Ohio skibbity Riz toilet. What do you mean, toilet? Toilet Riz? Isn't that some sort of cleaning product? Don't clip that out of context. So, and that's what she's been doing for years. That's what she's been doing for a long time. I can't tell you the last serious storyline Helen Worth has had in this character. It was probably dealing with Audrey wanting to be dead. She mostly just reacts to what the Platts are doing around her and just gets on with life as she's aging and she's getting on. It's a criminal shame. It really is a criminal shame. And when these characters leave, you hope that they're going to have these big, beautifully crafted, all right, Gail, 50 years of Gail, we're going to have the perfect exit for you. You're going to get back with one of the partners you're with who isn't dead. And he's basically dead. And he's probably never going to come back to the show at all. Ever. Okay. Here's the substitute. It's like, I'm leaving. I'm leaving the show. What do you mean? Oh, it's a fucking absolute... And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'd be gutted if I was Gail. I'd be gutted if I was Helen Worth. I'd be like, finally, a fucking break. Because at the end of the day, there's always a chance in a couple years she gets fucking bored of retirement and she says, look, I want to come back. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it with all the pieces. Fucking figure it out exactly what you want to do. I'm not coming back. And there is a Martin Platt-shaped hole, and I'm sure we'll never know what Sean Wilson did to get basically escorted out the fucking studios. We'll probably never know. There's rumours. There's pretty dark rumours surrounding it. We won't know what was going on. And it's just a shame that Helen Worth has been wrapped up in all of it. Jesse does not fit the fucking bill. He is a nobody. Who the fuck went, oh, fucking hell, Jesse's come back? Who? Who the fuck is Jesse? And, like, you can tell he's not a serious actor either. It would be like... It's like Liz McDonald. At the end of the day, Liz should always be, well, maybe not always be with Jim McDonald, obviously, you know, whatever the actor's doing, Charlie Lawson. But at the end of the day, Liz's true love probably is Jim McDonald. And then in like the mid-2000s, it brought her back to be with a lazy fucking stop out. And I don't remember his fucking name. Who the fuck? Vernon. She was with Vernon for 2 years. 3 years. And he was a fucking weirdo. And it didn't work. And it didn't make any sense. And it's like, okay, cool. So now, and that's similar. You can't just bring back this random fucker and believe that he's gonna slot in to the fucking magnitude that is 50 years of Coronation Street. It's an absolute disaster. And I feel bad because I'm sure there were some irreversible circumstances that you can't just, you know, fucking push under the rug. I'm sure they had this really nice storyline where they're going to have Martin and Gail reunite finally, but tragedy strikes and then they realise that being on the cobbles is just too much for Gail. She can't handle it anymore. So we have a teary reunion, a teary upset for everyone. You know, David's like, oh, bloody hell, it's nice to have my mum and dad around. Fucking boom. They gotta leave. They have to leave. And, you know, maybe her and Eileen share a hug. You'd say, you know, maybe, you know, I'm not saying they are like Pat and Peggy because it's a different thing entirely. But, you know, they are the famous rivals that probably could be good friends if they put aside the petty grievances. But all in all, you're stuck with Jesse, the children's entertainer. He had a parrot, for fuck's sake. So, Gail Platt simply is not the problem. The problem is they decided to bring back Sean Wilson. They then decided he wasn't fit for the show for whatever reason. And then they had to just work with it because at the end of the day, Helen Worth has been on the show for 50 years. She's dealt with more shit than any of us could ever fucking imagine. And I'm sure when she releases what I assume there will be a fucking Helen Worth, like, a book written about her time, and I'm sure it'll come out and everyone will realise just how much shit she's been through and how much shit she's seen. So, at the end of the day, it's a shit situation to be in. They're trying to make lemonade, but all they have is some fucking limes. It's just not worked at all, and it's been hard to watch because you just don't have the buy-in. And it feels like maybe they had a really good story for Martin Platt to come back for it, and they've just had to transplant it onto Jesse last minute. It's an awful situation to be in, but it just kind of proves that the direction that Coronation Street has been in, and probably the fact that maybe she was fucking sick of it. And not to kind of turn my vague agenda, because I do believe it's been in a bad spot, not turn that into the main point of the video, but maybe after all this time, she's fucking tired of being Gail. Maybe she wants to be Gail Platt, the character who's been on the show for 50 years and is and has been a true leading lady and carried many major storylines. It is a shit situation to be in, but they've absolutely sank instead of managing to swim. But there we are. That's the video. Have you enjoyed Gail Platt's exit so far? Tell me in the comments section down below. I've been Ash from Watching Walford. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.